It's time for this week's episode of Brandon Sports Talk, featuring in-depth interviews from those who are trending in the world of athletics. And now, here's the host of Brandon Sports Talk, Brandon Pate.
Welcome back to Brandon Sports Talk. In today's episode, I have the privilege to interview Marc, part of the Stadium Journey sports blog. How are you doing today?
Doing well. How are you?
I'm doing good. Can you talk about how you knew that you wanted to be a part of the Stadium Journey sports blog?
Well, I had been I've been writing for online websites and blogs since 2001. And I came across an issue of Stadium Journeys, one of Stadium Journeys magazines in 2013. I read through it and then contacted the owner and founder, who at the time was Paul Swaney, and asked him if he would be interested in having me write for the website. So he actually was coming down a few weeks after to review the Butler Fieldhouse, I guess Hinkle Fieldhouse, home of the Butler Bulldogs. So I had a chance to meet with him, and we had a conversation. He told me what he expected. He said he was going to offer a little bit of monetary rewards for the number of hits you get per article. And I've been writing ever since 2013. So about 244 articles later, this is where I am.
Can you talk about what the process is like going to different stadiums around the world?
Well, I can tell you definitely what the process is like. There are some stadiums where there's a lot of information on. You can look that up online. You may look that up on a media guide or programs. There's other stadiums, and there's a lot that I do here in Indiana. I cover a lot of high school gyms. Some of the largest high school gyms in the world are in Indiana, but there's not always a lot of information about them. So I do a lot of research online. I do have a subscription to newspapers.com. I'll look up some information historically on that. But when it comes to your normal stadiums, I want to arrive at the game a little bit earlier. I always try to get a press pass. I like to sit down. I just start taking in certain vibes and atmosphere. I take a lot of pictures and write a lot of notes of concessions, the type of foods that are being served, the type of beers, the number of craft beers being offered. I look at ticket prices. I look at how much it is to park. I look to see how far it is to get from the parking lot into the stadium. I also see how easy it is to get from the interstate to a ballpark. So you just don't go there and sit and watch a game and eat peanuts or take score. You have to get there a little bit early just to get in some information before the fans arrive. And you also do a lot of moving around. I do not sit still at a ballpark. At a football stadium, I love when it's halftime because that's when I can relax and just copy down some of my notes. But I'm moving around a lot. So, the people that like to go to a stadium and just sit down and keep score, it's a little different when you're out there reviewing the ballpark. You're working. You're not just there watching the game and cheering and drinking a beer and wearing a team hat. You're there on an assignment. So the process is a little bit more than what most people do when they go to a baseball or football game. And sometimes I get strange looks. People look at me like, why are you taking a picture of the concession stand? Or why are you taking a picture of the roof? Well, it's just all part of what I'm doing as a ballpark hunter, ballpark reviewer for the website.
Can you talk about, do you have like some similarities as like a sports reporter like me who is at a game, like maybe reporting about the team, like, and writing down notes, of course, like the team maybe scored this many points?
No, I don't cover the score. I don't talk to players. I'm not in the locker room. I've done that before as a freelancer for various newspapers. But I'm sort of just kind of behind the scenes, just making sure more concerned with talking to a fan about the flavor ice cream they had or the donut burger they ate. But there are similarities. I do sometimes talk to fans to get their input, to get questions, but I don't talk to players. Every now and then, if I'm at a smaller venue, there may be a player that I talk to before or after the game or during warmups that may give me some information. I always welcome that, but not. I don't very rarely will go into the dugout or locker room to talk to players or even keep score. Unless I made the exception if you're going to a championship game of some sorts and you're posting it that night. For example, the MLS Cup was held in Columbus this past Saturday. I could have went, but I didn't. I think that would have been a time I would have updated about the score, since I believe that's the last game that soccer team is going to be playing at home before moving into a new venue in 2021.
Can you talk about what are some of your favorite stadiums that you visited with the stadium journey?
Favorite stadiums. Well, I'm a baseball guy, so my favorite stadiums are gonna be ballparks. I love CHS Field in St. Paul. That is the future home of the Minnesota. Well, it's the home of the Minnesota Twins AAA affiliate, but for the last several years, it was an independent club. Uh, CHS Field is beyond like an amazing time. It doesn't look like another ballpark. It doesn't feel like another ballpark. The tickets are cheap. There's 40 local craft beers to choose from. They're very green friendly with retaining rainwater for their toilets, and uh, electricity is run by well, not all of it. Some of the electricity is run by solar panel. It's just a fun atmosphere. You can't go to a game there and not be entertained. I also like Target Field, which is right down the road, home of the Minnesota Twins. Beautiful views of the skyline. Once again, affordable prices. PNC Field in Pittsburgh is gorgeous. You just take a seat behind home plate and you have the Roberto Clemente Bridge and the Pittsburgh skyline. MCU Park in Brooklyn is the high A affiliate of the Mets. All sorts of beautiful colors and the smell of the sea salt and the sounds of the seagulls. I love Kinnick Stadium in Iowa. That's the Hawkeyes football field. They do the Kinnick wave after a certain part of the first quarter, I believe, and they wave to the Children's Hospital. Very emotional, and I dare you not to do that and hold a tear, because you definitely get a little teary-eyed doing that. Lucas Oil Stadium here in Indianapolis. I'm not a Colts fan, but that's a great stadium. It's beautiful. It's gorgeous. It's got character. The roof opens much better than where my favorite team plays, MetLife Stadium. I'm a Jets fan. That's a very boring, no frills football stadium in the Meadowlands. And then Lineport Stadium. That is an amateur baseball stadium in Lineport, Pennsylvania, built in early 30s. Looks like it. You step back in time when you watch a game there, and in the outfield they have this giant hill because there's a giant boulder in the middle, and they couldn't blow it up. They had to keep it there. So very unusual looking ballpark, but it's truly a field of dreams out there. So baseball stadiums are going to be probably among my favorite because it's summertime. The weather's usually nice, and there's just a lot of stuff going on there.
Can you talk about what are some of your favorite stadiums that you visited for in the NFL?
In the NFL, let's see. Definitely Lucas Oil Stadium is a great place. That's nearby. I would say the two that I probably like the most is US Bank Stadium up in Minneapolis. That's home of the Vikings. Doesn't look like any other stadium out there. It has a sleek black look. It's got the mirrors and windows that open up to the city skyline. There's also Mercedes-Benz Stadium in Atlanta. That's home of the Falcons. Was able to take in a tour. Was able to see a United game there. That opens up with that halo design. I mean, these are just beautiful looking facilities that are just pushing the boundaries of imagination. It's, Lucas Oil Stadium here in Indianapolis looks like it's part of a warehouse, blends in, whereas those two other stadiums really jump out and, look like modern, sleek designs that I think will be part of the landscape for quite some time.
Have
And then,
you
of course,
visited?
I'm
Go
sorry.
on. Go on.
Oh, and then I want to add Lambeau Field up in Green Bay. That's a classic stadium in a small little town in Wisconsin, and I recommend anybody who's a football fan, if you can get up to Green Bay to see a game, do that before before you die, because that's truly the stadium, the experience, the tailgating, the town. It's not like any other NFL experience out there.
Have you ever visited Heinz Field, home of Pittsburgh Steelers, and of course the Panthers?
Yeah,
Stadium?
I've been to Heinz Field. I have never seen a game there. I've just taken a tour. So I don't know what that's like to see a game there. I can imagine it's pretty awesome for a Pittsburgh game. But no, I was there. I think the first time I was there was right before they built it. It had just been completed. And then the last time I was in Pittsburgh was about 15 years ago. And I took the tour, which, I like taking tours of stadiums, but they're not the same thing as attending a game, but you still get to see it.
Can you talk about, of course, the process of going on tours to stadiums?
The process of touring stadiums? Well, I mean, it's the process there is, and I wish I can do a little bit more. There's a lot of times that I can get access to an empty stadium, and I'll walk around and I'll just take some notes or pictures. And, that to me, as a person who likes to go to different venues and ballparks, yes, that's very exciting as well. But I'd rather be there for a game, like Heinz Field. I'm trying to think where else. The Superdome in Louisiana. I've taken tours of those facilities. Trying to think where else. Seattle, which was at the time Safeco Field. I took a tour there. They put you in the dugout. They brought you into the owner's box. They took the different aspects of the stadium, which you don't normally get to, even as a reporter. So I think tours are fun to take, especially in England, where there's usually a museum tour to take right after the stadium tour. So that's not always the case here in the States, in Canada, but those could be just as fun as well. And it's better than not seeing the stadium at all.
What are some of your favorite stadiums for the NBA that you've visited?
NBA, I'm not a huge NBA guy, but I do like the home of the Pacers, which oh my God, I'm trying to think of the name of it. Bankers Life Arena, which I think they're changing the name as we speak. I'm not sure if that's official yet. Bankers Life Arena looks like an old high school gymnasium or an old high school field house. And when you walk around the concourse, you have all the old pictures and photos and programs of different professional and collegiate teams that have played in Indianapolis or in Indiana. Right now, that's going through a major renovation, and I can hardly. It's going to look amazing when they're done with it. I think it's going to be ready in 2022. But right now, that's going through a major renovation project. Madison Square Garden. I'm a Knicks fan. Went to a game there many years ago. That's another arena that I suggest people to visit if you can, but make sure you take mass transit because parking can be a little bit cumbersome there. I also like the Palace of Auburn Hills when I went there a few years ago. Unfortunately, it's knocked down and closed now, so that just tells you how some of these arenas are here and gone in the blink of the eye. And I'm thinking some other NBA arenas that I have visited that I can speak fondly of. I don't get to a lot of NBA arenas. I mean, I went to the Fiserv Forum up in Milwaukee, but once again, that was a tour. I wasn't able to see a game there, but I definitely would love to go back to see a game there because the place looks amazing, inside and outside.
Have you ever visited Los Angeles Lakers along with the Hornets, along with the Golden State Warriors?
Oh, have I visited? Let me see. I have been to Staples Center. I was there for a convention on 3 occasions, but I've never seen an actual sporting event there. Golden State, I have never been to their arena. They just moved into the Chase Center. And then Charlotte, no, I've really have never visited Charlotte. That's one of those cities that I've kind of just driven through a few times. So unfortunately, I have not been to any of those buildings to see a game. I did go to the LA Forum And I have been to the LA Sports Arena, which were the former home of the Clippers and Lakers, but not the Staples Center to see a game.
What are some of the stadiums in college that you have visited?
Oh, college stadiums. Hinkle Fieldhouse in Butler is beautiful, historic. It's unlike any kind of basketball arena you've been to, especially when the Bulldogs are playing at a high level as they've been the past few years. Usually you get some pretty big crowds there. It's dripping with history. Louisville basketball plays in front of 22,000 seat arena, the KFC Yum Center, and that's right downtown Louisville. That's a modern facility. That place could probably host a professional NBA team, but it hosts college basketball. I've been to Cameron Indoor. I have seen a women's game there. It's amazing how this venue is still being used as a college venue, but once again, very unique, very different, and I can only imagine what it's like to see a men's game there. Notre Dame football, I've been to one Irish game. We were able to storm the field after the game. I don't think they wanted us to, but they let us run the field, and then they told us to come to get off as soon as possible. And then, of course, the Palestra, which is another vintage basketball arena in Philadelphia. That's home to Penn. I was there about a couple years ago for a New Year's Day game. That's a type of arena that if you went to and there was no game being played, you can just walk around the halls and soak up all that history and all those pictures and banners and stories that they have up there. I mean, everybody in Philadelphia history, from Wilt Chamberlain to Kobe Bryant, has played at the Palestra. And not only is it a great college venue, they also have a lot of parochial high school games there that pack the house. So those are some of the ones I think of when it comes to college venues.
What are some MLB games, baseball games that you have been to?
Well, I've been to all 27 ballparks with the exception of the new one in Texas, the Miami Marlins, and the Washington Nationals. My favorite games that I can recall: San Francisco Giants, wonderful time. The wife and I were there during their heyday of winning World Series, so the place was packed, and we actually had to sit in an old repurposed trolley car that was located in the outfield. We had standing room only tickets, but we were allowed to have a seat in this trolley car. So it's probably the only time I'm going to watch a baseball game from a trolley car. Target Field in Minneapolis, Minnesota. Beautiful place. The scenery, the food, the variety. PNC Field in Pittsburgh, one of the best. Also very affordable if you're with a family of four. Another venue that I like a lot was Petco Park in San Diego. Would love to go back there because I'm sure a lot has changed since I was there. Just a fun little, fun little quirks, old buildings that they incorporated into the ballpark to make it truly one of a kind. And of course, and I know a lot of people are going to say Wrigley Field in Fenway, but I like Guaranteed Rate Field in Chicago, the home of the White Sox. Some of the best food in baseball, some of the best prices, and some of the best craft beer in baseball. I know it's kind of an old junker of a stadium, but it could be a lot of fun there on a Saturday night during the summer. It turns into Chicago or maybe Illinois' largest outdoor bar. Fun times.
Have you ever been to Yankee Stadium?
Yes, I grew up in New Jersey, and I grew up a Mets fan, still a Met fan. I didn't hate the Yankees that much when I was a kid. I sort of kind of despise them now. Things change in 20, 30 years. Yeah, I've been to Yankee Stadium, the old original Yankee Stadium, quite a bit. I went to New Yankee Stadium on one occasion. It looks a lot like the old one, except it feels more like a museum. It's really overload of Yankee history, which is fine. It's Yankee Stadium. It should be. But I sort of miss the old Yankee Stadium a little bit. This one feels more like a museum and doesn't have sort of the character as the original facility did. Plus, that was hollow grounds of where Ruth and Garrick and DiMaggio played. This is not the same ball field. So,
Can you talk about what you've learned now that you didn't know before starting Stadium Journey?
What do I know now? Ooh. Let's see. I know that I didn't think I was gonna like reviewing stadiums of all shapes and sizes. You know, growing up, I went to all sorts of arenas and stadiums to see games. And now when I go to a facility, I just can't sit there and watch the game. I mean, I always want to kind of look at the pricing. I always want to see how the fans are reacting. I want to go into the press box and get game notes. And I got to tell myself, you know, Mark, you're at the game watching this. You can let loose. You can wear a jersey. You can drink a beer. You can shout. You can cuss at the players. You know, so you know another thing that I know is that there's a lot of people in the industry that are friendly. If you email them, if you introduce yourself to them at a game, you get some great stories. You may make some great connections. The PR guy over at the Fort Wayne Tin Caps, we're from the same area of New Jersey. So he gives you some inside information every now and then about certain stories. And, you know, we talk about growing up in New Jersey, what was that like in minor league baseball? So you learn sometimes that the world's a little bit small. Another thing I learned is that a lot of people travel around. So somebody who was with a team 10 years ago could all of a sudden be with another team many years later someplace else, and you bump into them again, you have a conversation. So one thing as a reporter, you should never go after a foul ball. You're not allowed to. So whenever there's a foul ball and I do get myself in positions where I catch a foul ball, I usually give it to a little kid. And a lot of times that makes the dad happy because it's like that magical moment where the son catches the ball and the dad can take a picture with. So as a reporter, never try to catch a foul ball at the game. You're not supposed to.
Can you talk about, of course, what is the challenges whenever it comes to being a sports reporter and sometimes being at a game, trying to enjoy the game without like reporting about the game?
Well, I guess you know if you go and it's out, it's very compact. It's steep in certain areas. By the time you do your tour of different, you know, to get different information about it, you're exhausted. You just want to sit down and relax, but you know you have to go take some videos. You may have to go take some pictures, and that definitely is a challenge. There's a lot of times I just want to hang out and watch the game and cheer and not have to report. But you know that's what you're there for. You want to get all the updated information. So uh, the challenge is that, you know, most of the time, if you just buy a ticket, you're there with friends and family, enjoying the time with them. If you know, there's been times I've been with my wife at a game and I'm just there with a ticket, but I still want to walk around and write about things. And I think that kind of not everybody does that. There's people that just want to sit there, watch the game, and be done with it. They don't like their entertainment's on the court, not around the stadium. Like that's how I find the entertainment.
Can you talk about the YouTube channel for Stadium Journey and what y'all
Oh
do?
yeah. Yeah, Stadium Journey. We do this twice a month. Every Tuesday, we record, and I think it comes out 6 o'clock the next day. We interview people from all over the sports world. We do about an hour and a half interview with a guest. Sometimes we don't have guests. We'll have a topic we'll discuss. Up until COVID, we would also discuss our sports trips where we've been. There's 4 of us that run the webs that work on it. 3 of us travel for Stadium Journey quite a bit and can definitely fill up a lot of time with our sports stories. But these are the type of people that we interview. We have Brian Cooper, who is a veteran sports marketer in Toronto. He's been invited to Wayne Gretzky's Super Bowl parties. He was a great interviewer the other day. We had Frank Fanning, who's the GM of the Jamestown Tarp Skunks. John Katz, who is the president of the Columbia Fireflies. Sean Harrison, who works for the St. Paul Saints as a broadcaster, vice president, and director of marketing. We've also had author Brad Bellucci, who I hope I said that right, Brad, who wrote this really great book about old baseball players called The Wax Pack. Emma Tiedemann, play-by-play for the Sea Dogs up in Portland. And then Chris Creamer, we interviewed him. He's the founder of sportslogos.net. If you want to know something about a sports logo, Chris Creamer probably has that up on his site. So these are great people that we get. We get to ask questions, we get their feedback, and we get to learn a lot more about our industry. And for example, Emma, who's the play-by-play for the Sea Dogs, I found out that she was also the PR director when she was with the Lexington Legends. And I actually had a correspondent email with her from about 2-3 years ago. So once again, there's that small world aspect coming back.
Can you talk about, of course, how you get some of those some of those interviewees that you have?
Oh yeah, we reach out. We reach out by email. Either me, Paul, or Dave will reach out to them, and we just send them an email. You know, for example, Frank Fanning, I contacted him first. He was more than happy to do it. We found out that his father was the GM for the Expos for many years. And we got a great story from that aspect, him growing up at Olympic Stadium. Sean Aronson, I had met him a few times when I went to Saints games up in St. Paul. He was happy to come on. Most people are happy to come on. I know you told me about one gentleman that you've been trying to get on, and he said no. We did have one author. I'm not going to say his name. He was on our podcast. We began the show, and I think maybe 5-10 minutes into the show, he disappeared. He cut off, and we never heard back from him. And then he sent an email to one of the guys and said that he couldn't get Wi-Fi connection. He was at his sister's house. He apologized. He never agreed to come back on. But most people come on, and it's through an email. It's just say, hey, would you like to do this? This is what we do. We'll send you a Zoom link. We'll set up for 7:30, 8 o'clock. What day works for you? It's very easy to do. I don't think I've been turned down by too many people. Every now and then there's somebody who says they're not interested, and that's fine. But most of the time they're going to say yes.
Can you talk about what are some of your future plans with Stadium Journey?
To get out to some more stadiums. I definitely would like to. I was to about 14 different venues prior to COVID. I think I've been to 7 since. So 7 sporting events since March is wow. That's taken a hit on my travel. It saved me some money though. My future plans. Well, I mean, I don't own the site, but what I would like to do is create more awareness for them through social media. I would love me personally to get more writers to see if they would like to write for the site. It takes a special breed of individual to do that. And, I would love Stadium Journey to dominate the world of sports venue reviews, to be honest with you. But, it'd be nice to retire from my teaching gig and do this full time. I think all of us would like that. But
what are some future advice that you would give sports bloggers looking to start something like Stadium Journey?
Future advice is have content up regularly. Don't create a website and write maybe 5 articles and then don't post anything up 5-6 months from now. Always have new content. Take great looking pictures. I mean, a lot of people are going on sports blogs because they want to see the pictures as well. Make sure they're crisp, they're clear, they're not blurry. Do some tricks with your camera. Right now, there's a lot of great filter options on our computers and on our phones that you can use to make your pictures really pop. If you're doing a review and writing it, make sure you're using proper verb, paragraphs. Do not make spelling mistakes. Edit, double check, sign up for Grammarly, because people are going to notice these things. They're going to see the mistakes and they're not going to take you seriously, and they may tune out. But create a website that is going to interest people. I was inspired by Charlie Zeb, who had a ballpark page. And that was the first time I discovered a lot of these baseball stadiums and what they look like and the history. So that got me sort of excited myself to want to write. So just make sure you make it presentable, make sure you have content, And if you have make sure your personality shines. Because if you love doing it, I love doing this. It doesn't seem like a job to me. I look forward to writing a review. I look forward to writing an article on a specific topic.
That's wonderful advice. Where can my listeners find Stadium Journey on social media?
You can find Stadium Journey on YouTube. I'm sorry. Oh yeah, you can find Stadium Journey on YouTube. That's our podcast. We have a Facebook page, we have a Twitter page, and we also have an Instagram page. So just type in Stadium Journey. Also, Paul Baker is the president of Stadium Journey. He can be contacted on Puckman RI, which is his Twitter feed. If you have any questions or you're interested in joining the team and writing for us, he's the guy to talk to. He'll tell you exactly what we offer and what to expect.
That's wonderful. Thank you again, Mark, for your interview, and best of luck at Stadium Journey.
All right. Thank you for having me.
You can find Brandon Sports Talk on Facebook at Brandon Sports Talk, Instagram at Brandon Sports Talk, Twitter at Talk_Brandon, and you can find me on YouTube at Brandon Sports Talk. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Thank you again, Mark, for your interview, and best of luck.
Thank you. You too.
You've been watching Brandon Sports Talk. Please feel free to like, share, and subscribe to Brandon Sports Talk on social media and on YouTube.